So, it's your first rotation. Greetings, Illumineers! How did we get here? First of all, rotation is more than just the circular transformation of an object around a fixed point. In card games like Disney Lorcana and many others, it's a way to keep the game fresh as new sets are created and reduces the chances of negative development side effects like staleness or power creep. But what are those? Well, staleness is basically where newly printed cards don't really change the metagame or the kinds of decks people are generally playing and seeing, because the new cards aren't good enough to replace the older staple cards that people are already using. This issue often leads to the other problem, power creep, which means that cards get progressively more and more powerful, effectively supplanting and replacing older cards. But what does this mean for Disney Lorcana? Well, when Lorcana released, all sets were legal in what was called core constructed. Every time a new set was released, all of those cards were added to the existing card pool, and Reign of Jafar is the 8th set released, with Fabled right around the corner. Ravensburger had some specific choices that needed to be made in order to manage their flagship competitive play model and avoid both the staleness and power creep issues that could come up. They could adopt a bandless priority model, which regularly bans or restricts certain specific cards every so often, thus forcing decks that use those cards to adapt, change, and update, or rely on less powerful newer cards. Or they could rotate out the old sets in a cycle, only allowing the most recent sets to be legal in the format. Both options offer different challenges and complications, but Ravensburger decided to go with the latter in rotation. So what does this mean for you, the player? Well, upon release of Fabled, Lorcana's 9th set, the 4 oldest sets will rotate out, or no longer be legal in core constructed. That means that any cards from the first 4 sets, so the first chapter, Rise of the Floodborn, Into the Inklands, and Ursula's Return, will no longer be legal to play in your core constructed decks. The current slate of legal cards after the release of Fabled will be sets 5 through 9, or Shimmering Skies, Azurite Sea, Arcasia's Island, Reign of Jafar, and Fabled. Now, fast forward a year, and we'll have the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th sets release, maxing out the rotation size again at 8 sets. That means whenever the 13th set releases, the 4 oldest sets, in that case 5 through 8, will rotate out again. What this means is that at any given time, Core Constructed will only have as few as 5 or as many as 8 sets legal to play in the main Core Constructed format. Although not always, that's usually the main format played at local game stores for League Night and in most DLC challenge events. Now, Fabled is also special and unique in that it's a set that also includes piles of reprinted or graduated cards that will continue forward in legality. Cards from those first 4 sets in addition to a collection of new cards. So what this means for legality is that many of these older cards will still be playable and legal in Core Constructed as long as a printing appears within Fabled. For example, Stitch Rockstar is one of those cards that's being graduated and reprinted, which means that that particular card will remain legal to play in Core Constructed. But any additional copies you own, whether they're from the first chapter, or Fabled, or even the set championships, will still remain legal to play. To put it as simply as possible, if any printing of a card is legal in a format, then all copies of that same card are also legal. We also got confirmation during Gen Con that rarity shifts can also happen for reprinted cards. For example, there was previously a super rare being printed at rare. That rarity symbol would not affect that card's legality either, and in the case of Aerial Sonic Warrior, a rare copy from Fabled or a super rare copy from Ursula's Return would both be legal in Core Constructed, as long as some printing of that card is in a currently legal set. As of recording this in early August 2025, we do not have the full picture of all the new cards from Fabled being reprinted, and by the time this comes out, that actually may even be out. I'll link it below if it's there. But the upcoming meta will be heavily influenced by what is and is not reprinted, offering huge shakeup to the format as a whole. Moving forward, as Ryan Miller mentioned on the recent Lorecast, Fabled is a special one-off set. He said that due to the early days and unique nature of the card pool, this was the best decision for right now, but that any future rotations, they do not plan on doing additional reprint or graduation sets. Now, with rotation also comes a question. What do you do with all your old cards that you can't play anymore? Well, other games like Magic the Gathering use non-rotating or eternal formats to allow players to keep playing with those cards, often with some of the most powerful or busted cards in the game. Disney Lorcana will follow a similar path and introduce a new format called Infinity Constructed. Infinity will allow every single Lorcana card ever printed to be legal, and no sets will ever rotate out. That means that decks will be a little slower to evolve and maybe a little less impacted by new sets, and it will have all of your old friends sticking around whether you like them or not. Some players will see this as a plus, getting to play with their old decks for a lot longer, while others may see it as a drawback, being stuck playing the same busted decks and cards that they've been looking forward to getting away from. Wherever you personally stand on it, I'm excited for both of these options. I hope that Infinity Constructed picks up popularity alongside Core Constructed, which will hopefully remain nice and fresh. I always love being able to play the most powerful and crazy decks as I can, and I love playing new and interesting decks with new and interesting cards. What are you looking forward to playing in the upcoming Fabled post-rotation format? What kinds of things are you hoping to see? Do you plan to play Infinity Constructed? Are you excited it has a separate banned list, which means Hiram is available to play? Well, let me know down in the comments what you plan to play or just what you think of rotation. And as always, stay questing and stay winning. If you enjoyed that, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want more gameplay or breakdown videos, check out the playlist and recommendations here.